Ishan Gwal, and I'm a fourth year BTech Computer Science Engineering student at Bennett University. I completed my internship at UST Software India Private Limited under the supervision of Dr. Ashok Sinha. I've worked on the project with my teammates Gaurav Sethi and Tanmay Jain to develop a COVID spread prediction model using hidden Markov model. As we all know, the coronavirus disease was first appeared in Wuhan, China on December 31st, 2019. It then started spreading rapidly all across the world, affecting 196 nations and territories. The only remedy so far to prevent virus spread without providing a curative medicine is by practicing social distancing. Despite the discrepancies in medical predictions, forecasting is still invaluable in enabling us to evaluate current situation and plan. The major difference between COVID-19 pandemic and similar viruses such as SARS and Middle East respiratory syndrome is the capacity of COVID-19 to spread quickly through human interaction and leave almost 20% of the people as symptom-free carriers. In addition, several studies have reported that the disease caused by COVID-19 is much more dangerous for people with weak immune systems. Elderly and life-threatening diseases such as diabetes, cancer, coronary heart diseases, HIV/AIDS are more vulnerable to COVID-19 effects. Many sources have suggested that COVID-19 spread follows an exponential distribution. According to empirical evaluations in previous datasets of COVID-19 virus, many sources have shown that data is time series based. We have taken the dataset from the repository of 2019 Novel Coronavirus Visual Dashboard operated by the Johns Hopkins University Center for System Science and Engineering. It is a time series based dataset of COVID-19 in which data is provided from 22nd January 2020. The data consists of number of cases and the number of deaths in each city of United Nations. In this paper, we have presented the predictive model deployed using hidden Markov model framework in order to accurately predict the number of COVID-19 cases, the rise and fall in the number of cases in future, and the date when the pandemic may end in different countries. Lastly, we will summarize this work and propose different directions for the study.
So hi guys, I'm Tanmay. So I'm going to tell you about the methodology of this project. As Ishan must have told you about what dataset have we used and like how we are going to do this. So I'm going to tell you about like what we are going to do and how we are going to implement the real thing. Okay, so let's see. So here is first step in which we'll import libraries. So basically pandas, numpy, seaborn and matplotlib. You can easily find and import these. And after that we have mounted the Google Drive so that we can fetch our dataset. So yeah, you will also know about the dataset as Ishan must have told you. So basically we have imported the dataset. It's the confirmed cases dataset. You can see all these parameters are there. These are the dates and the number of cases. Okay. Now we have removed the unnecessary column like which are increasing the noise for our dataset, so we have removed them, and then after that we have grouped it according to the cities, like combined city. So as you can see, if we see the difference between the data of like San Francisco, California versus San Diego, California, you can see the change in the rates and how the impact has been with the increasing days. Okay. So in this plot you can see like how the data set of how the data of San Francisco, California is changing with the days. Now basically we have calculated the first derivative of the curve. So basically first derivative will give us the main feature like rate, how the rate is changing with the days. And next like we have calculated here the first derivative of all the cities. Okay, so here we will calculate the first derivative of all the cities, and like we have changed the data to current data. Now you can see here our final data. So these are the combined keys of the cities, and this is the maximum infection rate, which you have calculated using first derivative function. Diff function you can see here. This is the diff function which is used to calculate the first derivative and the infection rates. Okay, so this is about the infection rate data. Now we will come to the deaths. So basically this is data set for the deaths. As you can see, same parameters it has as of the infection rate, and similarly we have calculated all the parameters, and finally we have arrived after calculating first derivative and removing the useless features, we have arrived on corona death data set here. So now we have two data sets, one is like this corona deaths and one is for infections. You can see this. Now we have combined both the data sets. So yeah, this is the combined key you can see, and these are all both the data sets. Now we have calculated the correlation between the data sets. So you can see like what is the correlation between maximum infection rate and maximum death rate. So it's the correlation matrix. You can also see the scatter plot. So basically you can see like we have taken the at x-axis we have taken the maximum infection rate, and y-axis we have taken maximum death rate, and then plotted a scatter plot, so it will help you to visualize the data. Now as we go forward, after moving forward, let's see about our main thing, that is HMM, hidden Markov model, how we have applied it. So you can directly install hidden Markov model from like pip install HMM it's a library, and you can use this library to like check the features. So basically here the death rate and infection rate data are converted into NumPy array, because for like processing the features we needed a column stack. So with the help of Python features, column stack and NumPy array is converted into like NumPy array. Now we have imported the train test split to split our data set into train set and test set. Okay, and now we have fit our model on our train's features. Like basically we have like initialized the model here with 4 components, and then fit our model on the train features. So basically our model and with the Viterbi algorithm and diagonal covariance type with tolerance 0.01. So basically we have taken 5 days latency, like it's a weight, how much like you should skip the according to the day index, and like we have calculated for 50 days, then 100 days, and then 200 days, first 50, first 100 and first 200. So basically our main motive was to like predict the values. So basically we have predicted the score. So as you can see, like we have taken from like this is the start index and end index based on the days. So it will be the data from first 50 days. It will give us the data for first 50 days, and like it will convert it into arrays. Okay. Similarly for 100 days and similarly for 200 days. Now we have calculated the outcome score. So outcome score is basically like it's a parameter of HMM library which gives us the score of our train features. So basically these were the outcome scores we are getting according to the days for the number of days. So this was our final we have got like first 50 days the outcome score was minus 25. After 100 days it was minus 21, and then it was like 200 days for first 200 days it's minus 23. So we can see the score has increased only like from first 50 days. So like we can see that. Now Gaurav will tell you the conclusions. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Gaurav Sethi, final year student pursuing Bachelor's in Computer Science and Technology from Bennett University, Greater Noida. And now I'm going to talk about results. The accuracy of the model is based on the score. The score computes the log probability under the model. The score is calculated on the basis of the previous day features and DAG covariance type. We have calculated the outcome score for different time period for first 50 days, and then for 100 days, and then for 200 days. The final prediction is done with the help of predict function, which predicts the most likely state sequence corresponding to the test data. As we have also saw the outcome scores that during the first 50 days the rates were very low, and then it started increasing. We have also calculated the correlation between maximum infection rate and maximum death rate before prediction to analyze the relationship between the two parameters. Moving on to the conclusion, we have found with the help of the recent data we got by the Johns Hopkins University Center for Systems Sciences and Engineering and the previous developed models and study done by different people around the world. We tried to overcome past failure and try to improve efficiency in predicting accurately. Based on the results obtained after applying the hidden Markov model, we can see the correlation between maximum death counts and maximum infection rate. As we have seen during the initial days, the rates were very low and then they started increasing rapidly. In order to examine the relation between both parameters, we have also measured the relationship between maximum infection rate and maximum death rate before provision. Besides the predictive model, researchers also observed in national and state specific scenarios how the specific action affected the COVID 19 infection curve. For example, since 3 May 2020, a decrease in the number of new infections has been accompanying the recovery rate. It coincided with exposure to patients diagnosed with COVID 19 to improve medical treatment and the consequences to prompt quarantine. With the forthcoming data estimates, we are likely to be able to help forecast the potential spread of COVID 19 and assist decision making in healthcare, manufacturing, economy, and even academia. Before wrapping up, I want to thank our mentor, Mr. A.K. Sinha, who helped us throughout the project, and our respected HOD Sir, Mr. Deepak Garg. And lastly, we would like to thank our placement cell for providing us this opportunity. Thank you.